Hey guys, it's Chris from Steeda, and today we're going to go over what to expect when you take your Mustang out on its first autocross race. In this video, we're going to tackle everything from what class to put your car in, what to wear ahead of time, what to expect when you get there, and most importantly, how to read the course once you're out there. So you've made a decision that you want to do an autocross event with your Mustang. That's awesome. First thing you want to do is hop on Google, search for your city's name and autocross event. So once you find the region you're closest to, go ahead and sign up. You can expect to pay anywhere from $30 to $60 depending on the region's fees and stuff like that with the SCCA. But regardless, it's a heck of a bargain for a day full of fun. And you can cut down that cost even more if you become an SCCA member. I believe it's under about $100 a year, but we'll talk about more of the benefits later in the video. While you're signing up for your first event, it's gonna ask you what class your car is in. Now, if your car is stock, it's gonna be pretty easy to find out what class your car is in. Just hop on the SCCA website, look for the Solo handbook, and your car is going to be listed under some sort of street class. Now, if your Mustang's modified, it may get a little bit more complicated. If it's springs, sway bars, cold air intake, a tune, basic bolt-ons, that's no problem. You can even go all the way up to Hoosier slicks, super wide wheels and tires, aggressive brake pads, K-member, you name it, there's going to be a class for you. Now, for example, I have 3 S550s behind me, but all 3 of these cars, based on their modifications, will be in different classes. Let's check them out. First off, we have a completely bone stock 2019 Mustang Bullet. This class will be in the street class, and if you look up in the SCCA Solo handbook, this particular model is listed under F Street. It can stay in street class because it honestly has no modifications, so it's good to go in a regular street class. Now, SCCA has put these classes in place to keep the racing competitive. This is a street class, which is pretty much for stock cars, which means in this class, you'll be racing other stock vehicles. Now, if you don't have a stock vehicle and you're looking to up the ante with a couple basic bolt-ons, you want to move to a street touring class, like my personal 2018 Mustang GT. Now, this car would be an STU based on some of the modifications it has over stock. It's running stock MagneRide shocks and struts. However, it is running our MagneRide sports springs and our Steeda front and rear sway bars in terms of suspension. Now, for STU, the maximum allowable tire width is 285 millimeters. Obviously, these Nittos are much larger than 285. For race trim, I would need something with a maximum of 285 width square. Even though I have some basic bolt-ons on this GT, I won't be racing against the stock Bullet owner, which would be unfair to him since I have some modifications. But I also won't be racing against this EcoBoost, which has suspension completely done from top to bottom. Now, this 2015 EcoBoost will be racing either in cam or street modified based on the way the car is set up. It has suspension done from top to bottom, and on top of that, super aggressive brake pads with super wide Enkei RPF01s wrapped in Nitto NT01 tires. But depending on what we're trying to accomplish that weekend and what class, we could also be running Hoosier slicks as well. Now, the major point I'm trying to drive home is, regardless of how your car is modified, whether it's stock or completely modified, you'll be able to run and be competitive within your class. And on top of that, if you don't want to race in a competitive class, there are novice classes across most regions in the United States as well. Now that we've talked about the different classes for your Mustang, let's talk about how to prepare the day before your autocross event. Now that you've registered, figured out what class your car is going to be in, next you're going to want to make sure your car is ready to go before the autocross event. First things first, wheels and tires. You're going to want to check your owner's manual, make sure that you're torquing your wheels to the proper torque spec from the manufacturer. In addition to the wheels and tires, especially if you've made some modifications to your suspension or brake system, you need to make sure all that's tight and safe as well. It sounds simple, but you want to make sure that your seat belts are functioning correctly, your trunk is cleaned out, your battery tie down is functioning as intended, no fluids are leaking under the car, and also bring a helmet. This is the perfect example of a helmet you can bring to an autocross event right here. Now, in addition to fitting your head properly and having the right size, you'll want to make sure that it has the Snell SA 2010 rating or higher. Now, if you don't have a helmet, you are in luck. Most regions across the country do have helmets for rental along with head socks. Now, with coronavirus and everything like that, things might change a little bit, but hopefully we'll be back to normal soon. Now, in addition to making sure your car is ready to go for autocross, you need to make sure that you're ready for your first event as well. Make sure that you bring nice, comfortable clothes, sunblock, a hat, comfortable shoes you can be on your feet all day, and on top of that, snacks and lots of water to hydrate. Now let's go over what a typical day at an autocross event looks like. Typically, in most cases, the gates open between 7 and 8. Right after that, you have your registration, make sure the car is good to go, do your novice course walk, then driver's meetings usually between 9 and 10. First car's off typically around 10 or 11. And then throughout the day, run groups go back and forth with working. And by the end of the day, 3 or 4 o'clock is typically when things close out and you'll be on the way home. And yes, I did mention working. You will have to work these events. That's how they keep the costs low because it's a volunteer run organization. In most cases, your work duties include standing out on course in a safe area, making sure the cones don't fall down, and then running back out after a car goes by, popping the cones back up, and letting the timing tower know that that particular car knocked over a cone. It's really not that hard, and they'll guide you through the whole process. Working is also a great opportunity to get another vantage point of the course. You can watch cars go through, how they approach turns, and on top of that, you'll have some other people out there that you'll be able to converse with and get some pointers along the way as well, as long as you're paying attention to the racers and making sure that everyone's staying safe. Now, when you arrive at your first autocross, you'll want to make sure that your car is safe and good to go. That means removing the driver's side floor mat and throwing it in the trunk or outside the car. Same thing with the passenger side floor mat. And then you want to head up to the registration table, check in, get your work assignment, make sure you're all good to go there, and then clean out your car, take it over to tech. They'll go over it with a fine-tooth comb, make sure your car is 100% safe to race. And if you have any issues on what class you should be in, that is the time to bring it up. Let the tech guys know and they'll make sure that you're in the right class. From there, after you're registered, teched in, all good to go, you want to make sure that you're in line for the novice course walk. This is really crucial because it allows you to get out on track before racing to get a look and feel of the track with an experienced person who will tell you how to navigate the cones and navigate the course. And in that course walk, you'll have those cones telling you what to do as you navigate around the course. Now on the course walk, you'll have the experienced racer telling you what to do as you're going through different elements, but we'll take you through a slow motion run of Jamie in our EcoBoost, frame by frame, to explain to you what those cones do and tell you where to go around the course. So what we're gonna do is take you through a step-by-step of Jamie's run a month or two ago at the Dixie Region SCCA event here down in South Georgia. He's actually driving our Q350 EcoBoost. This thing's set up for autocross. So once the worker in the pits tells you to go ahead and pull up to the starting line, obviously there'll be somebody in front of you. We're waiting for this BMW to go. You got the green light, so it's good to go. Now Jamie's gonna pull up to the starting line. Gonna get himself nice in place so he can set himself up for the next turn. Now one thing to point out is that as Jamie's backing up here, you'll see that those two cones over here, see these two cones over here, that's actually when the timing starts. So you have a little bit of rollout to get up to speed before the timing actually starts for your run. So obviously there'd be cars out on course. So you wait till you get the green light and he's good to go. So first thing you want to see here is all these pointer cones telling you, hey, there's a wall. You want to go to the right of this particular cone right here. Same deal here. So this is a quick turn. Again, you want to go to the right because these cones are pointing to the right. So you keep going. Same deal here. You have these walls on the left-hand side. It's going to guide you through that particular corner. And again, these cones are pointing to the left. These pointer cones are pointing to this particular cone that's standing up, meaning that you need to enter this particular gate between this cone and this cone. Work your way through. You have another pointer cone here, and you have your apex cone here. This wall guides you through the turn. In a lot of cases, autocross regions will use chalk. This desperately helps the novices as well, not to mention as somebody who's been to a couple autocross events over the past few years, it does help me even too. There's a mini slalom here. This is a gate here. You have this pointer cone telling you want to go to the right as you enter this slalom, then to the left of this cone, stay within these two cones because there's a gate right there, and to the right, and then back to the left as you enter the 180-degree turnaround. To the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Okay, now you have a pointer cone here, your apex cone. This is the outside of the gate with these two cones saying, hey, go left, because we don't want you to go in the grass and hit the fence. Just keep going. And you see here,
You have a big wall here. Again, this is for the drivers so they know not to go over to this asphalt patch over here. You have 3 pointer cones here saying, hey, we want you in the middle of this gate. You have the wall here and you want to be to the right of this particular cone. Go around, same deal here. Pointer cones pointing to the left. You want to keep going left. We don't want you going up this hill. You have a wall here, pointer cones over here. Here's your apex cone. You want to go to the right of this cone and stay to the left of this wall. And again on this, you'll be setting up for a slalom. Now, this might seem a little daunting watching this video right now, but I promise you, once you go through a course walk in the beginning of the day, especially if it's a novice course walk with an expert who is explaining each technical part of the course and how to navigate, you will fall right into it. It's crazy how much of this is muscle memory. So Jamie's exiting. He's setting himself up for the slalom. Now keep in mind, he's actually got some serious speed coming out of this turn. Looks like by the speedometer, he's probably doing about 45 mile an hour at the top, near the top of second gear. He's got some serious speed. So with that said, he's setting up to the right of this slalom, and then you have each cone in the middle that are equidistant. Now, keep in mind, sometimes this pointer cone won't be here. So there are particular occasions where you can enter the slalom on either side of this cone. It all depends on what you think may be fastest. So Jamie's gonna go to the right, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, one more time, and now he's setting up for the next turn. You have the outside of the gate right here. You have your wall saying, hey, pointer cones going to the left. You got your wall, takes you all the way around. Take it outside, find your apex, keep it tight. Now you have your wall taking you, leading you out, your apex cone here, pointer cone, telling you just okay, keep going. You got your Chicago box. Now these are intended to slow people down a little bit because we have a little bit of a straight here. And Chicago box, you can navigate it really however you see fit that keeps you as fast as possible through this element. You have a box of cones, a wall all the way around with a couple pointer cones in the middle here and your apex cone. So what you basically got to do is just get in and out of this box as quickly as possible. Keep it tight with that apex cone in the middle to set you up for the next element. Then you want to keep it wide here. This is a 180-degree turnaround. Again, your apex is not going to be here. It's going to be farther into this turn. Keep it wide. You have 3 pointer cones here telling you where to go. You want to go to the right. You have a wall here that's saying, hey, keep going to the right. Again, you have a wall here, keep going to the right. You have a wall here, keep going, keep going, keep going straight. All right, now we can hit the gas. Got 3 pointer cones here, telling you to go to the right of this cone. You got the wall, keep going around. And again, a bunch of pointer cones here saying, hey, go to the left. This is your wall. Keep it tight and mash it. When you see those 2 cones right there, the finish line, you'll know there's your timing. Mash the throttle. Get on as hard as possible and celebrate at the end. Make sure to keep the speed limit in the pits, and that's all that's there. So now what we're going to do is take you through a full run from start to finish.
So I hope you enjoyed that brief overview on Jamie's autocross run, teaching you how to read the cones, navigate the course, and make your way from start to finish. Now we're going to go through some frequently asked questions. First off, it is possible to co-drive with another person. It's as simple as adding a 1 on the side of your car with your numbers in between each runs. For example, I would be 189 and my buddy is 89, and every time we switch drivers, we would switch the 1 on the side of the car. It's as simple as jumping on registration when you're registering beforehand and registering both drivers for the same car in the same class. Next up is joining the SCCA. Obviously, if it's your first time running, you may not be inclined to spend the near $100 to join the SCCA, but I'm telling you right now, it's addictive. You're gonna wanna join. There are a ton of benefits, from the magazine that they put out every month to a slew of discounts from different retailers across the internet. There really is no reason why you shouldn't join the SCCA, especially if you plan on going to many autocross events over the coming months and coming years. Many regions across the United States do have live timing available, and that means that as racers cross the finish line, you'll be able to see their time live right on their website. So if you're registering, go ahead and ask, hey, do you guys have live timing? Because they'll likely have it up on their website, and you could check your times as well as your buddy's times throughout the day. Yes, of course, cell phones are allowed. However, you can't have them on the course while you're working, as it's a safety issue, and you can't have them out while you're in the car. Don't be like this guy. The last thing you'll hear about while you're at your first autocross event is the PAX time or PAX index. This equalizes the playing field based on vehicle class, meaning that the entire list of racers can be evaluated on the same plane. Much like correction factors on a dynograph, which compensate for the difference in temperature or humidity regardless of where the dyno pull is performed, the PAX index does the same exact thing across all vehicle classes during a race. So that about wraps things up for this video. Hopefully you learned something and you could take some more confidence with you to your first autocross event with your Mustang. Now, we put a lot of effort in these videos, and so does my skin, which kind of matches this Race Red GT. So throw us a like if you appreciate the effort, and comment below. Let us know how your event went. We would be happy to see and respond back. And don't forget the most important thing, speed matters.